those people with disabilities, are they also allowed to jump the queue? I mean, in a valid way. Are they given what is the word? Are they given priority to sort of get served first?
Yeah, not only the PWDs, even pregnant women, even people with children, they're allowed, and even old people. There's some people who are very old that they can't stand for long. So we have another queue, a parallel queue from the normal regular queue for them to go faster.
And those assisting them, perhaps it's someone pushing the wheelchair, and they're registered, they get to vote as well.
Yeah, they can vote both of them at the same time.
Right.
There was a decision today, and before we get to the issue of the IDs, there was a decision today by a 3-judge bench to suspend a decision directing IEBC to use manual registers in the general election. How does that change the order of activity there once a voter comes?
Like we did it today, she didn't have to go through a register. You saw that she didn't have to go through a register. So the first clerk will deal with the KIMS kit, and then the other 3 will deal with the ballot papers, and then the clerk that was supposed to deal with the register will make sure that you don't have to put in a different box.
Right.
It's a stray bullet, stray ballot. Yeah.
There was another decision today that was quite big to suspend the governor elections in Kakamega and in Mombasa, as well as the MP election in Pokot South and Kacheliba. What should the residents of those areas expect? Are they still going to come and vote? And what should they find there?
Yeah, they will still come and vote, and they will be having, instead of 6 ballot papers, they'll have 1 less. Yeah, like Mombasa, they won't have for the governor. So it is just like that. It will be postponed for a few until we are ready, and then we will do it for them. You shouldn't worry.
Yes.
All right, let me pick up from a question Mark asked earlier, and that was if some people are colorblind or cannot genuinely tell the difference, particularly between a color such as white and beige. Are those people going to be assisted?
Yeah, there will be a clerk. We said there's an extra clerk now. They will be assisted. But before we had that extra clerk, the deputy presiding officer was supposed to sit somewhere, stand somewhere and wait for you after you have done your voting. Yeah, he will check to make sure that you are dipping in the correct box. Because if you don't do that, it will be called stray ballot and it will not be counted.
All right. 2 questions about the identification, and particularly mine. It's quite dark and hard to tell because it's old and it's a bit battered and beat. So will that be accepted here? It is my ID card. I didn't get the new generation one. And what happens in that case? And if I happen to have lost my ID, either making my way to the polling station, shouldn't my biometrics stand in for that? And
what you're telling us is using logic.
Yes.
Yeah, because it should stand for you. But because the law doesn't allow you, I'm sorry, you will not vote. But for the what is called your ID that is so dark, but it's original.
Yes.
So when you come, because you still have it, we'll still use that ID, because that is the first way we look at your face compared to the ID. If the ID and the face are not looking the same, but you still have your ID, we will check through the biometrics using the KIMS kit, and the KIMS kit will tell us the number of ID. So we'll see the number of ID from there and compare it with what you've brought.
There's some people who you honestly will look at the fingers and they've been hard at work, let's just say that, and it probably won't pick up on that KIMS kit. What happens in that case? You know, they really have some
I hear you. Even me as a woman, I might have used the knife cutting onions and then something happens. It's allowed. So when you come in, since you have your ID, we'll first match your ID with yourself, with your face, and then we'll allow you to try and use the KIMS kit. If it doesn't happen, we don't see you, it can't be used, then the last option will be the alphanumeric. The alphanumeric will take the number at the ID or the passport used, and we'll put it in the KIMS kit. We'll get all that information that compares to you. After that, after we've matched you there, we'll take a picture of you with your ID to make sure that it was you who came in, but we used your alphanumeric. And the agents will be there to confirm that that is what happened, and they sign somewhere there, and then you'll be allowed to go next.
Amina, confirm to us who exactly is allowed in a polling centre, and as a voter, who should I expect to see? Obviously, the IEBC officials. Can you clarify how many again?
Yeah, the OBC officials will be the PO and the deputy, and then 6 other clerks. Okay. The first one and the 4, there will be 3 now instead of 4, and then those will be 4, right? And then there will be 1 who will be checking here, that is 5, and the 6th one will be out there looking at the queue to make sure that the queue is not like and it's like controlling the crowds.
Right. Yeah. Should there be anybody else in the polling center?
Yeah, of course, there will be the media, NTV, we are sure you are going to be there. There will be the media, the observers. This time we have attracted many observers, more than 100,000. We'll have observers, and also we'll have the agents. We'll have the agents for each candidate, and even for each party, depending on how big the station is.
Right.
If we have a bigger station, we can accommodate everyone.
Okay, and just briefly, we see a spotlight behind you. Are we expected to see those? That's not part of our studio, it's part of your equipment. Yes. What is the need for that, and is it going to be in every single polling station?
It is going to be in every single station, and it is powered using solar and also the normal.
Okay.
Yeah, in case we are going to count at night, which is not in case, it is going to be like that. To be the case. So we will use this light and also the gas lamp to have 2 options.
We've just heard from one of our correspondents in Kiambu, there's some delays in polling stations in getting some of the voter material. And if the polling station opens later than expected, rain or whatever other occurrence, how do you factor that in terms of giving people more time?
Yeah, it's polling has to take place for 11 hours. Okay. So from 6 to 5. So in case something happens, like the way you said it, the number of minutes or hours that were lost, they will be given at the end of the election. So if it ends at 5 and we had lost like 20 minutes, it will be 5:30, 5:20.
Right.
So exactly. So we record it immediately in the polling station diary. This is here, polling station diary, that we record everything that happens in that polling station. From the time you like now, they are bringing the materials to that polling station, they will start recording from then that we have reached, and this is the time we reached with all our materials and everything was ready. The next morning something happens and they have to open late, they will say it. This is the time we opened. And so it will be declared. 30 minutes were lost, and they will be expected to have recovered them at the end of the election. Okay,
Amina Sood, the manager at IEBC for voter education, thank you so much for your time. There are many more questions, I believe, but the crucial ones have been asked, and thank you as well to the clerks. And I'm sure they will also be in action tomorrow at polling stations. Grace to you as you handle the long hours. That's